How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
I'm well.
How's Arizona so far?
It's treated us very well.
Yeah,
Weather is perfect.
at least for today, right? Tomorrow we're supposed to get rain.
Hey, I left Texas and it was 16 degrees that morning, so this is beautiful.
Hey, before we get into this too deep, can I just ask you about Zaven Collins and what you thought of him as a player and now what he's doing with the Cardinals?
Yeah, obviously, Zaven. Zaven, we were actually talking about him on the way over here, and he was a quarterback in high school and played linebacker for us there at Tulsa. Just an unbelievable young man. Obviously a great football player, but twice the young man. And so, to just see where he is today and doing what he's doing and the impact that he's making now from year one to year two is incredible. And so, extremely proud of him.
No surprise to you?
No, not really. He's been a phenomenal athlete his whole life, and has kind of done it all, and works very hard for it.
Let's shift gears now to TCU and just what you guys have accomplished this year on the field defensively.
Well, there's been a lot of things. It's been quite the journey, from the time that we got here and the installation of a new defense and just trying to, you knew you had some good football players and a lot of them we were very familiar with from recruiting them through high school and stuff like that. So you had an idea of what you were getting. I think the biggest deal at this point is that they've just done a tremendous job of really locking in and embracing the newness of everything. And I think that's why we're where we're at today. Is because of their hard work ethic and their willingness to hang on to everything that you say. You got to be careful about that, because they're going to try to do it to a T. And so been extremely excited from that. From day one of walking out in fall camp to where we're at right now. Part of you sits here and says that it's not a surprise because we felt like we had something special. We had some special players, special athletes and stuff. But obviously you got to have a lot of things happen and go your way to do that.
So you get through the Big 12 and now you got to take on a Michigan team that's very different than probably what you've seen most of the year.
Yes, they are, and and then there's some aspects that are very similar to a K-State and some guys like that because, what Kansas State did to us, and we, fortunately fell short to them in the Big 12 championship game. But from the big personnel packages and running the ball and really, controlling the clock and moving the sticks and stuff like that, there's a lot of resemblance from that aspect. It's going to be quite a bit different from what we've gotten to see week in, week out. But I also feel like, there's some differences that we'll bring to the table as well. I think it's going to be a great matchup.
And you mentioned the Big 12 championship game after losing that one. But to be here now at number 3, how cool is that to be here in the semifinals?
Oh, well, we felt, obviously we wanted to go win that and finish it out right. And we went through a lot of battles and stuff. We played our first 2 games and then we had a bye week and then we had an 11 game stretch there that we had to go. And 7 of those 11 games we had to come from behind to win it. And so, we've been in some knockers right there. And so, to be here and to be at this point, we felt like we had an opportunity, a shot at it. We knew that, we wanted to win that Big 12 championship game. Felt like we needed to in order to be here. Feel like, the game was good enough and went into overtime and stuff like that. This is a good spot for us.
What do you think you guys learned from that loss in the title game to hopefully implement in the biggest game of the season so far?
Well, I think, there's always something to be learned from every game. Fortunately, we learned a lot throughout the course of the season with wins, but there was a lot of real close games. We had some overtime games. We had, some last-second field goal games and things of that nature. So you're constantly learning. And then, unfortunately, we got our lip bloodied a little bit right there, and you always have to learn from that stuff. I think that's, our hope is that we're going to look back at that as tough as it was and as difficult as it was. We hope to look back at it and say, that was a blessing, and because it opened our eyes as coaches, opened our eyes as players to some things that, through the course of a season. When you start playing week to week, you get away from the details of stuff. And here we've had a month to sit there and prepare. And so you go back to the details of everything, because that's technically what it is at the end of the day.
Second straight year that Michigan's offensive line has won the Joe Moore Award. I guess as you're more familiar with that now on tape, what is it they do that makes them sort of go, and what sort of challenges do you see?
Well, obviously they do a tremendous job of coaching them, and those guys play very well together. You can tell that this is a unit that's been together for a minute, and you know, the addition of the center that's come in there and made a tremendous impact and stuff. You know, these guys, they're not going to make mistakes, and there's not anything that they haven't seen. It's not like we're going to go out there and throw something at them from a defensive standpoint that they're that's going to wow them or confuse them or anything like that. You know, obviously these guys understand football, and their IQ is extremely high. They're not going to make mistakes with it, and they happen to be really good football players. You know, and so it's going to be a battle of the trenches, no doubt. And I think on both sides of the ball, for us offensively and for us defensively. And we know what type of ball that they play and that brand and what that entails. And so we're going to have to do an extremely good job of trying to match that up in the trenches.
Joe, on that note, how do you think your defense kind of matches up?
Well, I guess we're about to find out. And, you know, we feel very confident with it. You know, obviously the question was brought up earlier. You know, this is a little bit different personnel package and from what we've seen through the course of the season. But we also feel like we got some things within our defense that we can go and do. And but again, just like I was saying, I think it has to start up front. If we can sit there and control at some point and at some parts of the game, control the line of scrimmage and do those things, then you know, we're going to have to win on the early downs and put them in some predictable situations, hopefully.
As a defensive coordinator, do you relish these kind of games?
Absolutely. I mean, this is as fun as it gets right now. You know, there may be just one more after this that's a little bit more fun. But you know, this is an extreme challenge for us, and you know, that's the thing that you want, and our kids have embraced it. We're embracing it, and look forward to getting out there on the field and let's go toe to toe.
To be in this game, what does it mean for the university in this program? We played in a playoff.
Well, I think it says a lot for our university, and I think, you know, TCU's been on the map, and people are aware of TCU and things of that nature. But obviously, at this point, you know, to be in the position that we're in and things of that nature, it really puts TCU out there. You know, this is a small private school, private university, unbelievable education, but we also have some tremendous sports, and it's a great area to live, and you know, it's in the DFW Metroplex, and so you know, to be in this position right now, it's tremendous and exciting for our university, for all of us.
From a physicality standpoint, is there a team you can compare to? You guys have gone up against this year?
Yeah, I think from a physicality standpoint, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I think K-State, and you know, there's some differences, obviously. You know, quarterbacks are a little bit different, but you start talking about personnel from that standpoint. And, you know, obviously Michigan quarterback can sit there and run the ball. He's extremely good on the run. He makes a lot of things happen. He can throw the ball very well on the run. And then he's got a lot of targets to sit there and throw to. And so, you know, their tight ends are all really, really good from a blocking standpoint, run game standpoint. And then they're going to get mixed in the pass game as well.